Hey guys, and welcome back to another review video. Today we're going to be looking at the Phlex Edge, a futuristic wearable which provides detailed metrics of a training session when you sync it with an app after your swims. The device was initially crowdfunded and now you can purchase it on their website for $250 US. We can talk later about the sort of value proposition of this product, but for now we're just going to get started and talk about some of the basic features. In a product that does such a huge array of different things, we're not going to be able to touch on everything today, but I'll more try and talk to you about how my experience has been wearing it and whether or not I think you should potentially look into buying one of these. As always, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the like button and check me out on Instagram at theswimsuitguy95. The Phlex Edge comes delivered in a very Apple-esque box. You get the charging case inside, some cables, and of course the Edge itself. Setup is simple. You download the app on your phone. In my case, that's the Android app, but there's also an iOS one available too. You sync the device up, you feed your favorite pair of goggles strapped through the grooves in the Edge itself, and it's ready to go. You hit one button to turn it on, you hit another button to get it ready to swim, and you put your goggles on as you would any other day. The Edge itself sits just off your forehead on your right temple here, where it can take your pulse, and your goggles fit as comfortably and as normal as ever. A big sort of selling point of this Edge is its compatibility with other goggles. It means you are wearing whatever you'd normally wear while still getting the functionality of a product such as the Edge. I honestly find it really quite comfortable. You do on longer sessions sort of begin to notice maybe there's something there, or when you're pushing off really hard, a couple of times it's sort of flipped around like this, but generally it really is unobtrusive, much more so than something like the Form goggles, which as soon as I started swimming faster, I sort of opted to stop wearing them because, well, they're so bulky. Here I'm getting that streamlined design of a Speedo speed socket and can really still go fast and hard. The underside of the Edge actually has a small contour which fits to the shape of my face anyway fairly nicely, and as I said, it really doesn't add anything too horrible to any of your goggles. In terms of compatibility with goggles, it pretty much fits on anything. Phlex say 99%, and while I must say you probably can get away with putting these on anything, you probably have noticed I've got these on a speed socket and not an Arena Cobra Ultra. That's because these do have a stability bar, and any goggles with a stability bar, I do find the Edge, while it can attach to it, I found it personally to have a much more likely scenario of causing the goggles to leak, because the stability bar is stiff. It would sort of push on that and that would push the lens off of my eye. Regardless, seeing people have much more success than me with goggles with stability bars and using the Phlex Edge. But if you are someone who's a big fan of these goggles, I'd probably just get the Cobra Core and stick the Edge on that, because you would have zero issues whatsoever. So only with goggles with stability bar might you run into some problems, and I do have to say that. Once they are attached to your goggles, you do never have to take them off, which is another really handy feature, because the charging case, which has a micro USB port at the back and a little groove for the Edge inside, basically sits around the goggle strap. So you've got your goggles coming out either side, and again, you never have to have that finicky experience of feeding the strap through and getting it all in place more than once. Once it's on your goggles, it's on your goggles. You can charge it after every session, not that you need to. The battery life's really quite good. I don't know exactly how much it is. I have my office is there, the pool's here. After every session, I just stick it onto charge. But there has been occasions where I've not charged it for like, I don't know, 5 days, and it's been fine. The battery got a bit lower in that point, but generally battery life's great. With all that sort of stuff out of the way, what actually does the Edge do? Like, why would you want to attach it to your goggles? And the basic sort of thing that this does is it tracks your heart rate throughout a session and also everything you've done. So once you sync this to the app after your session, the app will literally have plotted your set. I mean, it goes into as much detail as saying you've done 10 100s off of 1 minute 30. It knows the turnaround that you've done, and it will tell you every time you've done. It will tell you the distance per stroke of every one of them hundreds. I think that's absolutely awesome. I'm someone who loves numbers, loves statistics. I remember when I was 12, I bought this Speedo finger watch that every time I pushed off, I started, and when I finished, I stopped it so I could see which times I was going in training. While you won't get immediate feedback with this, you won't be able to touch the wall and know exactly what you went. As soon as you finish a session, you sync it up to your app, which takes like a minute for the information to cross over, and you literally can tell, oh, I've done 1050s and I held between 27 and 28, whatever. This is what I went on every single one. Oh, look, on that one, when I went faster, my distance per stroke got less. Like, you can see these little details. I must say as well, the timing of this is really accurate. I got someone to time me pushing a 50 and compared that to what the Edge got in the app afterwards. And there, I think it was a 0.03 differential between the two times. We tested this a few times, and honestly, like, it was getting within 0.1 every time of what the person timing me was getting. So I really do trust the times I'm getting on this, which is super cool if you're doing stuff like race pace 25s and you want to know exactly what you was going. Was you hitting your target times to the 10th of a second? I trust the times I'm getting off this. In terms of information that I would like to see it add, and I think there's the potential for them to add certain metrics, such as what I'm going to say, but I'd like to see splits. If I'd done like a set of 200s, I'd like to see my 100 split, my 50 splits of each of the 200s, just because I'm a bit of a nerd. Maybe I'm alone in that. And I'd also like to see my stroke count for every length. It's good to see the distance per stroke, but I'm someone who likes to see the actual stroke count as well. So maybe I've done 13 strokes, 14 strokes, 15 strokes, 16 strokes, but I can't find that information. Maybe it's collecting it, but it's not currently on the sort of the platform. It gives you some other numbers as well, such as a splash score and some calories burned, and these are all cool. Probably the coolest thing this does, outside of just plotting the set, is what it can do with heart rate. And there's quite a bit going on there. Now, first of all, it does actually give you live heart rate feedback. There's a big button on the front of it, which you can easily feel because of grooves. And when you press this mid-set, it will vibrate the number of times for the energy zone you're working in. So if you're not working very hard, you're in zone 1, it will give you a haptic response of 1 sort of buzz. And it's a real obvious buzz. If you're working moderately hard, you might be in zone 2 or 3 to get 2 or 3 buzzes. And when I've been working extremely hard, and I've got my heart rate up to, I think, 195 with this, it gives you 5 prominent buzzes. So you can actually, at any point during the session, check what your heart rate is. And you can play around with other stuff as well. So you can have it, so if you know you're going to do a set of 60 50s off a minute, you can have it vibrate every minute. So not only will it can use it to set you off, every minute you can sort of get a sort of gauge of what your heart rate is, or you could say, well, I'm going every minute, so every 45 seconds I want it to vibrate, whatever. Like, so you can do something that actually you don't even have to press the button. It will give you feedback regularly for your session. Or maybe you're just doing a long swim, you're going to do a 1500 straight, and every 50, so every 35 seconds you want it to tell you your heart rate, so you can make sure you're maintaining a heart rate or increasing a heart rate throughout a swim. You can get this to do that sort of stuff, which opens up a lot of opportunities for people swimming on there, or even for some sort of pacing method. The heart rate features don't end there either, because there's a small LED light that blinks on the front of this, and it actually blinks different colors based on, again, what zone you're working at. So if I, as a coach, had all my kids in my squad wearing this, I could say, we're going to work it in zone 3 today, and I could make sure all my swimmers working in zone 3 by just seeing what color their edge was flashing. That, as a coach, would save the whole getting everyone to check their heart rate and trusting your athletes, which we should be able to do. But definitely is a cool little thing. Another cool little thing as a coach is if your athletes all did have these, as soon as they sync them on their app, you can get your athletes to register you as a coach. So they would all go home, sync their edges to their app, and then you would have on their coach's platform all your athletes, and you can actually then look through your swimmers and see what they were holding for swims, how their heart rate looked, what their distance per stroke was like, and then you can see improvements in your swimmers in distance per stroke, what times they're going. It's really cool. And actually, for swimmers to then log stuff, every session on there, you can actually write notes. So if you're trying to encourage your swimmer to do log books, but they don't want to sit there and write things down, what they can do is just on the workout sort of details on the app, they can just maybe write a few points. Felt good today, stroke felt long, feeling the water, worked on this on my turn, was really trying to work on whipping the kick on breaststroke, and then they can maybe track their swimming in that way. As I said, this does have a huge feature set, and I'm probably missing some things out, but what I really do like is the unobtrusiveness of wearing it. The heart rate monitor is just absolutely top notch. I love seeing all the times I went after a training session. The app is clean and simple to use. It has some other stuff like preset workouts you can copy and do, but for the most part I know what I'm doing anyway. And I love how, as a coach, actually there's a lot of benefit for maybe encouraging your swimmers to wear these. I like that it doesn't have too much information on the fly. I think that can be sort of distracting. As much as I like having the form swim goggles with the number right there, sometimes You don't want that, and sometimes you just want to be able to clear your mind, and then you can sort of assess what you've done afterwards. And at the same time, as a coach, I don't want to just be coaching from an iPad with something like the Triton where I can see live metrics for everything. I quite like just having my stopwatch and my eyes and actually coaching, but I would also love to be able to then sort of sit back later after a session and analyze how my swimmers are done. I'm loving where the market's heading with these sort of devices, and currently everything on the market is, I think, really intended for different purposes. I don't think the Phlex is a direct competitor to the Triton or to the Form, because they have their clear-cut niches. It's not just like they're all the same thing and that they overlap. They are offering metrics to swimming, but one is very much for a team, one is for individuals, and I must add as well, this can be used for open water swimming. It can be used short course meters, short course yards, long course meters. You could use it on a bungee. You can do anything you want with this. It's not just for swimming, in a team setting. So yeah, I think everyone actually has their own niches in this market right now. No one is a direct competitor. Should you get this? I think the price is more than fair. $250 is a lot of money, but really when you think you're probably going to pay more than that for your tech suit, which lasts you a year tops, this is actually a pretty good value thing, considering it's an actual piece of tech that actually does something and can last you a long, long time, really. While expensive, I think there is decent value there. But most importantly, whether or not you should get one, I think is down to what your team and your coach say. If you were thinking of getting one, I think you need to ask your coach first, because he might say, no, I don't want any sort of distractions in the pool. I know firsthand I wouldn't have any of my swimmers wear the Form swim goggle. That's because I don't need extra distraction. I let some of my kids try them out for a bit of fun on a sort of easier session, but I don't want them having that constant distraction there. I want them using the clock themselves. I don't want them sort of getting just follow the goggles. I would be much more willing to have my swimmers wear the Edge. It's not something I'm 100% going to do in the future, but it's definitely something I would explore more, because really once they're wearing it, there's nothing to worry about. I'm not going to have people with leaking goggles or, clicking around and fiddling with stuff. And it would be nice just to be able to glance down and see the heart rate of my swimmers. Nothing more, just a rough sort of guidance of what zone they're working, so I can quickly say, well, you're not working hard enough. You need to, slow down a little bit. Just little stuff like that to make sure they're doing the set correctly. I really do think it's something that you should talk to your coach about before purchasing, because they might be very against it, or they might think it's a great idea and they want to get their whole club involved with something like this. Regardless of whether or not you're going to go and buy an Edge, I think it's great that we have these companies investing in swimming technology. Cyclists and runners have probably had this sort of stuff for years and years, and swimmers, we haven't had anything like this. And I think now that we're getting more ergonomic designs that can give us information, it's just going to get better and better. And I think in years in the future, these will get smaller, more ergonomic, and give us even more details. I also know that Phlex can add things to this. This is not a finished product. Like any technology, this will receive updates and has received updates and will add things as they go. And that's a sort of exciting prospect, and why, again, I think it's a good investment, because you're investing in a company that are going to invest back into this product. They're not done and dusted. I must just add, as a fellow YouTuber, Phlex makes some great videos. Check their channel out. Their cinematography is awesome. They use drones and have much better production value than any of the stuff I've ever done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've tried the Phlex Edge or any other wearables in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and as always, I will see you on the next video.